What up, people? Welcome to the Push the Ball Black Show, and this is the Bears cast for Week 7 of the NFL. The Bears made it interesting, but they lose 25-36 from New Orleans, and don't let the 25 points fool you. That game was trash for 3/4 quarters. Like for most of the game, the Bears only had 120 total yards, and the last two drives in garbage time, pretty much, they had 130 plus yards and scored 15 points. All right, so really, the last 2 yards of the Bears' offense was basically where they got the majority of their yards. So let me break down the box score real quick. Mitchell Trubisky, 34 for 54, 251 yards. That's and 2 touchdowns. Those stats are misleading because, again, he played horrible for the majority of the game other than those last 2 drives. Tariq Cohen, 3 carries, 10 yards rushing. We're going to talk about the rushing game because that was ridiculous. Because there's a narrative that for the last 2 weeks has been frustrating, and there's a narrative about running the ball that I'm going to get into in a second, which is frustrating to watch. All right. So Anthony Miller had 1 carry and negative yard. Receiving, Allen Robinson had 87 yards, 10 receptions. Anthony Miller, 5 receptions, 64 yards. Adam Shaheen signing, 24 yards, 2 receptions. Cordell Patterson, 2 receptions, 21 yards. Tariq Cohen, 9 receptions, 19 yards. Most of those, again, was those last 2 drives in the fourth quarter. And Trey Burton, 2 receptions, 11 yards. Taylor Gabriel, 1 for 6 yards. Javon Wims, 1 for 6 yards, 1 touchdown. Allen Robinson had a touchdown, and yeah, that's it. Let's see. Yep, Allen Robinson had a touchdown, and Javon Wims had a touchdown. So, let's see. Checking to see if there's a running touchdown somewhere, and no running touchdowns. So, yeah. Special teams and Cordell Patterson had a kickoff return for 102 yards for a touchdown. All right. This game was trash for the majority of the game. Special teams, other than that touchdown, that special teams touchdowns, New Orleans had 2 block punts. Teddy Bridgewater threw for 281 yards and two touchdowns. He had all day to throw. He had all day to throw. He let's see, 23 of 38, 281, 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Latavius Murray had 27 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. All right. So here's the deal about the Bears and their offense. Mr. Trubisky is bad. Like, he's bad with glimpses. Those last two garbage time drives where the Saints were still playing hard but not really. The Bears were able to get decent yardage. He didn't throw any picks, but he throws in the coverage. There were several times where he threw in the coverage. He almost threw 2 picks today, balls were dropped. In one play in particular, Allen Robinson broke it up. So he's a dude that will show you glimpses, but if this is the dude, if this is the year where you're going to see whether or not he's a dude that you resign, nah. This is a situation where next year you draft somebody or you bring in a real backup to give Mitch Trubisky some competition, because this is ridiculous. And the fact that the Bears threw the ball 51 times and they ran for 7, they had 7 carries. That's not a Mr. Trubisky problem. That's a Matt Nagy problem. And Matt Nagy has not proven that he's a sustainable coach and offensive play caller. Like, this season was, and I know they were 3-3 last year and they had a run. That can still happen. But Green Bay is 6-1. Minnesota's in second place after beating the Lions today. The Lions are formidable. The Bears are in trouble. If this is what they're going to put out there, they're in serious trouble. That was horrible for 3 quarters. They didn't even want to run the ball. You can talk about the offensive line all you want. They did not want to run the ball. There was no formation to run the ball. You got Tariq Cohen and you have David Montgomery. They drafted David Montgomery because all we heard last year was Jordan Howard was not a good fit for Nagy's offense. And you got a more shiftier back. He can catch out the backfield. And they didn't even try to run the ball. And Tariq Cohen, yeah, he's going to get, there was some talk locally here about where's Tariq Cohen, how come he isn't getting touches. He'll get touches toward the end of the game. Like, what are we doing as an offense? Mr. Trubisky is Mr. Trubisky. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to come on here every week that there's a game unless he just plays atrociously bad and say, this is Mitch's fault. Some of this has to be the coach. And you know Mr. Trubisky, and this is another thing too. No one has said that Chase Daniel is better than Mr. Trubisky. No one has said that. But Mr. Trubisky can't run your stuff consistently. Before I go on to the Saints, because I'm not going to sit up and just give the Bears should have won against the Saints. No, they shouldn't have. The idea that just because Teddy Bridgewater is quarterback of the Saints and it isn't Drew Brees, that this was not necessarily a gimme, but the Bears had a really good chance to win, you're not paying attention to what the Saints are doing. But yeah, man, I expected the problem that I have with the Bears offense, because the Bears defense is tired. They didn't get any takeaways. They did get they got an onside kick. They actually got 2 onside kick recoveries. One was called back because for the second one they didn't establish themselves back in bounds from going out of bounds. So they were able to make it interesting. But yeah, like, there were no takeaways. Teddy Bridgewater was able to basically run the stuff with no rush at all, no interceptions, nothing. And if the Bears defense is okay, because for the most part, for the first half of the game, it was a pretty tight game. It was a 2-point lead, which basically was a safety. So yeah, Bears defense did fine for the first half, but you gotta score, man. And I'm not talking about towards the end of the game. The Saints are a good football team, and see, this is another thing too. there's a such thing as career backups, and then there's guys that just happen to be backups. Teddy Bridgewater got drafted in the first round. In the I think he was drafted in the first round by the Vikings. He was supposed to be their future quarterback. He got hurt. Does he have the best arm? No. Is he the best athlete? No. But Teddy Bridgewater is a starter in this league, and he got hurt. He almost lost his life based on that injury. And for him to come back and take that deal and basically go on a 5-0 win streak with the Saints, that's cool. But to act like Teddy Bridgewater is just this bum QB, that was disingenuous for anybody that thought that this was the case. Teddy Bridgewater could start. As a matter of fact, when Sean Payton signed him, get to Sean Payton. We can go back to Sean Payton in a second. When Sean Payton decided to sign Teddy Bridgewater, he said he believed that Teddy Bridgewater can start for the Saints. So, Drew Brees is getting on the tail end of his career. Teddy Bridgewater is 26, about to be 27. So the idea that Teddy Bridgewater can step in after Brees retires isn't a far-fetched idea. Now, there's a reason rather that he got given the most money for a backup QB. And that defense, the defense of New Orleans is a good defense. We can say what we want about the Dallas Cowboys, but I watched them play against the Dallas Cowboys, and I did not expect the Dallas Cowboys to play as bad as they did against the Saints. So the idea that, Mitch Trubisky is going to come in and you have a better chance to win, not if he's just throwing crazy, over the head and no one's going to be able to catch the ball. That defense was good. The defense is just as formidable as the Bears, especially now. So yeah, man. Sean Payton outcoached Matt Nagy. Still don't know what Matt Nagy's trying to do. If you're not going to run the ball, the screen game is not working. You're not putting your running backs in the slot very often, and for the first half they only had 78 yards in total offense, and they ran the ball 5 times. That's coaching, man. I don't know what you're trying to do. That you know what this is just by me watching. By me being in Dallas for years, and the stupid stuff that Jason Garrett used to do when it was Tony Romo and they didn't have Ezekiel Elliott as a running back. When Jason Garrett was the coach, when Jason Garrett first started as a head coach, and he used the Norv Turner system, he ran a lot of what Mike Martz wanted to run. Like a pure, Air Coryell, Mike Martz style offense, where they didn't even use the ball. They didn't even use the running game at all. And everybody was like, it's the line's fault. It's the line's fault. And it was because, basically, Tony Romo and Jason Garrett were cool, and it was a bombardier. There were games where, because Tony Romo was a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky, there were games where Tony threw you into games, and there were games where Tony threw you out of games, and there are certain games where the running game was important, and the running game could have been important, and they didn't use it. This is what this is. Matt Nagy didn't even want to throw the ball. This has nothing to do with the line. Even if you have a decent line, even if you don't have a decent line, you at least try to run to see if David Montgomery or Tariq Cohen could break free. I mean, both of those running backs are shifty. So, I don't know, man. They're 3-3. They might go on a run. I doubt them going on a run. like they did last year. This, to me, looks like as of now, it looks like we'll be lucky if we finish in third place. Like, because Green Bay is better than you. Kirk Cousins is playing inspired football. Still don't trust him as far as I can throw him, because he'll still throw you out of games. And the Giants, I haven't really figured out the Giants yet, but the Giants are talented, and Matthew Stafford can throw you out of games. And it seems like the Giants are more in control offensively now, and they're going to give you a good game. This isn't going to be a cakewalk this year at all. So it's frustrating, man, because that's not what we were sold. This really shouldn't be just the defense is just going to save the season, the game, every game this season. That's not what we were told. We were told that Matt Nagy's the new offensive mind. You got 4 quarterbacks in the quarterback room for this kid, and now there's no progression. And everybody says, well, Chase Daniel's not as good as Mr. Trubisky. That's not the point. If he's talented, or if he's more talented than Mr. Trubisky or not, he isn't. He can run your stuff. This was a perfect example. This game showed you a perfect example of a backup quarterback that was good, that starter quality, which the Bears obviously don't have, and New Orleans being able to run their offense. Now, the offense they don't stress the field. Drew Brees can stretch the field. Teddy Bridgewater can't. But Teddy Bridgewater has a little bit of an arm, and Teddy Bridgewater was able to use the mid-range game to carve up the Bears' defense. That's all your backup quarterback should be able to do, especially when you got a guy that, although as talented as he is, he overthrows people, and he loves to throw into double coverage. He just loves to do that. I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know what he's trying to do. But Mr. Trubisky loves to throw in double coverage, or he loves to lead his receiver into double coverage. And he'll miss wide open receivers. The Tariq Cohen play right before the end of the first half, where Tariq Cohen was a check down, and he was wide open, and he was in space. Mitch missed him. So we got the Pittsburgh Steelers on their fourth. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers on their fourth quarterback. They're competitive. I think Carolina is on their either backup or third string QB, and they're competitive. There's talk of a quarterback controversy in Carolina because of their backup QB's play. But everybody wants to talk about how more talented Mr. Trubisky is than Chase Daniel. It doesn't matter if he can't do his job correctly. So, I don't know, man. It's too early to say fire people. Because if this was, I don't know, if this was toward, like, if Matt Nagy wasn't the defending coach of the year, this would probably be like, okay, fire Matt Nagy now and trade Mr. Trubisky. Matter of fact, I won't go that far. Keep Matt Nagy, because his first year head coach, at the very least, he should be able to finish out his contract. But there's a problem here with the fact that I think he wants to be a certain type of coach, and this is dangerously getting close to what Mike Martz used to do, where I have a specific way I want to play, and we're going to have to play this way. And instead of, we're going to play this way no matter what, and instead of, understanding what you have, like Sean Payton understood what he had and decided, hey, we're gonna do this now because I got to make sure Drew Brees is healthy, and we're not gonna lose the season. So we're gonna fix it so Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have to like win us the game, and we can throw the ball down the field when the shots are available. And they're 6-1. While Matt Nagy's like, I'm going to run this system, and if the system doesn't work, oh well. And we have to figure out the running game, even though I don't want to use the running game. So, anyway, this is more of a rant. It's been 20 minutes. That's it, man. See y'all next week. I don't know. Just frustrating. Anyway, I'm out. See y'all next week.